Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daniel Caldwell. Today we're going to be taking a look at the findings from EMCOR Service Delivery Analysis for the final project for Operations Analysis course. Quick agenda for today is an introduction to who EMCOR is, overview of the project and the goals, take a look at the current process flow, review the results of the financial analysis, and take a look at the application of the theory of constraints. And then we'll also present the next steps that EMCOR should look at to reduce and apply the findings of the report. So who is EMCOR? They're a Fortune 500 leader in facilities in mechanical and electrical construction. Today we'll be focusing on the facility side of the business. So currently EMCOR services their customers through two methods. They self-perform work and they also supplement that labor force with subcontractors. So the goal of this project is to identify financial opportunities that EMCOR could leverage through self-performing more work that has historically been subcontracted. Also, we want to identify the constraints that are causing the reliance on the subcontractors and take a further dive into that and how do we apply the theory of constraints to alleviate that reliance of the subcontractors. So why do we want to alleviate that? Well, there's two reasons. The first is financial. The reliance on subcontractors creates lower margins for EMCOR and a higher price for the customer. So by alleviating that reliance, we'll create more margin, more revenue for EMCOR on the self-perform side and a more competitive price for our customers. Also, it allows better control of the service delivery process, so EMCOR has better control over the training related to their self-perform technicians and customer interactions, customer service, developing solutions, and follow up on those work orders. So the focus of the project, EMCOR, will be on EMCOR's field organization that services geographically diverse clients, and we looked at three types of clients for this study. First one is learning care centers. Think of daycare centers spread throughout the country, financial retail chain, think of your local bank branch, and a sporting goods retailer. Also, we looked at 5 service classes: general building, electrical, lighting, HVAC, and plumbing. We focused on these because this is EMCOR's field group's core competencies, and this is the work that they want to be self-performing. So a quick review of the current process flow. So when a work order comes in from a client, EMCOR makes the decision whether they're going to self-perform the work or directly subcontract it. If they decide that they think that they can self-perform the work, it then is made, there's a decision point to see whether they have the capacity to self-perform the work or the competency. If they do not, then the work will be sent over to subcontractor, and then from there the work gets completed. So if from a visual perspective, the goal of this project is to identify what's causing these two red lines in this process flow and how do we alleviate that and push more of the work towards the EMCOR servicing side. So a brief overview of the financial. This is a combined financial for all 3 clients. Ultimately, if we were to be able to begin self-performing more work based on the analysis done, it would drive an additional revenue of $2.3 million into EMCOR self-performance with estimated gross margin of $352,000. Also, it would save the customers close to $500,000 or 3.5% of the overall budgets that we're looking at in this analysis. So let's take a look at the bottlenecks, the causes, how do we improve them, and how do we continue with the continuous improvement method. So the 2 causes for the reliance on the subcontractors is the geographical coverage by the EMCOR team. So the EMCOR team tends to be focused in population dense areas, so your big cities, and when the customers have locations outside of those cities or in very rural areas, it becomes difficult for the team to respond to those because of the windshield time getting out to those locations. The other reason is just peak demands. So when they have a lot of work orders coming in, it is very difficult for them. They have to decline the work and get a subcontractor involved so that way they can meet their service level agreements with their customer. So if we look at the opportunities for rapid improvement or exploiting what's currently available, the first item would be to make sure that all of the work goes directly to EMCOR technicians and that they have the first right of refusal before it's sent to the contractor. And if you remember from the last process flow, it split into work going to subcontractors or EMCOR. So we just want to direct all of the work to EMCOR technicians and give them the chance to decline the work. The other opportunity is to look at some of the rural areas or maybe less dense areas to see how has the landscape changed, how has the customer saturation changed, to see if resources can be deployed to those areas to support EMCOR technicians that previously have not. Secondary items for improvement is continuous analysis of why EMCOR is declining work. If it's a capacity constraint in a population dense area, do we need to look at adding additional resources to alleviate that? And then if we look at elevate and continuous improvement beyond that, capital opportunities is routing software. So, if you're looking at areas where it's already a saturated, EMCOR has multiple technicians, is there an opportunity to better route the technicians so they're able to be more efficient, complete more work orders, and not be driving from place to place? And then ultimately, there should be an ongoing review program implemented to ensure the highest levels of self-performance. So, we suggest, a 6-month or 12-month review program of these items that we listed above, ensuring that the areas of customers are being covered, understanding why the work's being declined. So a quick review of the next steps will be first to make sure that all work is dispatched to a technician and that they have the first right of refusal, that no work orders are initially being dispatched to subcontractors. Second, take a review of uncovered areas with customer presence, identify if their footprint has grown or changed, that we're able to add coverage to those areas. Next would be to identify why technicians are declining work. Is it because they don't have the proper training, or has their workload increased in that area that it may make sense to add additional technicians and create action plans? Next would be to identify routing software, the payback, implementation cost, and timeline to make sure that technicians are routed as efficiently as possible. And then lastly would be to set up a team to review this program on an ongoing basis. Thank you everyone for the time. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I look forward to hearing from you.